Sit, turn type, sit. Good boy. Ruff. Be sure you come out and check out the squad on November 14th, Friday, November 14th, at the Mecca, Ridgefield Park, New York, for Respect Wrestling, presenting No Escape, Friday, November 14th. Don't want to miss it. Doors open at 7 p.m. Bell time is at 8 p.m. Friday, November 14th, at the Mecca, Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. Respect Wrestling presents No Escape. You don't want to miss it.
Class is back in session, or class is going to resume now, because last time we discussed CM Punk part 1, where after an hour, me and Jay realized that there's so much to cover with this one man, where we need to do a part 2. And now for part 2, we're bringing in a special guest, first timer on the show, but avid listener, big supporter, and knows a lot of goddamn trivia every time we do a contest at one of these viewing parties that we do, and that's Mr. Ricky. How you doing, Ricky?
I'm doing good. Doing great.
Yeah, Ricky needs to go outside and touch grass. That's why he knows all that shit. He needs some.
No, I don't.
You gotta meet people out there. There is a world outside of wrestling, Ricky.
Oh no, hell no! I'm out and about. Trust me, Jay. Trust me.
It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah, I don't think right now is a good time to be touching grass. Do you not feel the weather right now, everybody?
It's my kind of weather.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, a lot of people are not used to the change in the weather, which I'm like, where do you not know where you live? I mean, I know for some reason our city's about to change, but that's a different subject for a different day for those specific people. But we're going to talk about the fun side of wrestling, but I do want to share one thing with everybody that is tuning in right now, probably for the first time. But we are now on all podcasting outlets. So if you listen to any podcasting outlets or listen to your phone and Android, whatever you listen to, we are on there. Is that right, Jay?
Well, you can check on all podcasting outlets that's available: Spotify, iTunes, what have you, YouTube Music, whatever it is that's out there. History and Headlocks is now available on all podcasting outlets. Is not only you can search for it on the History and Headlocks, you could also search for it directly in the New York Wrestle Media Network. So make sure you guys lock in, like and subscribe, and as always, be a part of the vibe of all things connected to not only History and Headlocks, but New York Wrestle Media.
Mm-hmm. Now, with that out of the way, CM Punk. For once again, everybody that doesn't know, Chicago made Punk from the city of Chicago, Second City Stage, Stage World Heavyweight Champion. But where we left off was at the pipe bomb, where Jay, I'm going to give you the floor here because you wanted to elaborate more on the pipe bomb itself.
So I know there's been a lot of podcasters already covered it, and unfortunately, due to restrictions and stuff, we can't play it. FUWE. But at the same time, you know what's funny? That if you're doing if you're commenting on it, if it's transformative, they should be allowed. You should be allowed to play it. or any content. But WWE is so strict with their nonsense; it's just ridiculous. So, in any case, before anything, I'll pose this question to you guys, and I'll let you know my thoughts about it.
Mm-hmm.
Where were you when the pipe bomb happened? Now, Mike, you're a bit younger than Ricky and I,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
so this might have happened to you in your early teens and such. So,
Correct.
did you watch it live?
Yes, I did. This was around the time like when I was in high school. Still watching Raw or SmackDown every week, but it was very secretive for me because nobody in my school was a fan of wrestling, so I had my fandoms all to myself. So I remember watching it in my bed late at night and just watching it play out like it did, and I was very shocked, surprised, but it's also like, damn, I can't talk to anybody about this. I don't know anybody that knows wrestling.
Ricky, where were you at when this happened? Besides,
I was home watching it, and I was so surprised. But I was like, "Whoa, a pipe bomb! I never knew there was gonna be. I would never expect that from CM Punk, even though he wasn't happy. He was not happy at all dealing with the bullshit in WWE at the time.
so I remember distinctly. I was at home and we were. What the hell is going on back there?
I'm
What
in my
is?
room. They watching a movie. Sorry about that.
Oh my god! Go elsewhere.
Okay, hold on.
Let's,
Hold on.
let's put him on mute for a second. So, the hell? um, I was at home, and at that point in time, I was a stay-at-home dad, and I wasn't my really best of states at that time. My mind wasn't really at that at a good place, and you know, the only thing I really had going on was the fact that I was I was a father for the last 3 years, almost 4 years, and um I really used wrestling as an outlet to make me feel better at that time. There was nothing else. It was either that or video games.
Mm-hmm.
Punk was my guy. And when the rumors were going around with Punk going out, I was like, fuck, really? I mean, like, what if he leaves? I don't even think I'm going to be able to watch wrestling anymore because I wasn't a fan of the WWE product anyway. So I was like, what the fuck am I going to do from here on out? So then Raw occurs, and when I hear the intro, and I have it in front of Cena goes to the table, and you just hear my Punk come out. For some reason, he had the Stone Cold shirt, but if you watch the DVD, you find out later on what it is, what happened, how he what came about with that. And when he just opened up with the John Cena, while you lay there, hopefully as uncomfortable as you possibly can be, I want you to listen to me. I want you to digest this because before I leave in 3 weeks with your WWE championship, I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest. So I sat there and I went, do tell, sir.
Yeah.
And I just sat back and just watched this magistry that occurred in front of me.
Right.
We've all heard about shoot promos and such, but there was just something different about this promo that just went like off the hinges. What was Mike? What was the one part of this? What off of many, but what was the one that stood out for you the most?
Because I actually had to look up the word for word promo itself because I remember watching this live, but I remember them when he mentioned Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar at the first part of like his whole speech. I was like, really? Wow! I haven't heard those names in years at that point in WWE. This was 2011. They left in 2004. Like well,
Right.
Brock left in 4. Heyman 06. I'm like, this is insane. And then of course when he says hi to his friend Cole Cabana. I was like, oh my god, what the hell's happening here? I was like, I was waiting for the feed to cut or like the screen to go black, but like, no, he kept going, which was kind of like a nod or like hindsight for me thinking like, oh, like they let him say this. This is not one of those like shoot things where they didn't know what he was gonna say.
So the line in question you're mentioning is, there's one thing you're better than I am, and that's kissing Vince McMahon's ass. You're good.
Towards Cena.
You're right. You're good at kissing Vince's ass as Hogan was. I don't know if you're as good as Dwayne, though. He's a pretty good ass kisser. Always was and still is. Oops. I'm breaking the fourth wall. I am the best wrestler in the world. I've been the best since day one when I walked into this company. And I've been vilified and hated since that day because Paul Heyman saw something in me that nobody else wanted to admit. Yeah, that's right. I'm a Paul Heyman guy. You know who else was a Paul Heyman guy? Brock Lesnar. And he split, just like I'm splitting. I sat there and I was like, what? Like, what are we doing here?
Well, also, you just reminded me because also wasn't Hogan in TNA in 2011?
Yes.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was.
He was on the outs with WWE at this point. So just like that whole spiel you just said, it was like boom, 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 like no, don't say that name, don't say that name. And there was also like the Dwayne comment too, where it was like that was always my funny thing with Punk was that he never referred to him as Rock. He was always said Dwayne, like you're fucking Dwayne to me.
Ricky, what's another one that stood out for you during this promo?
When he mentioned about Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, that was crazy. The dumb son-in-law and his stupid daughter. That was crazy.
That was the piece de la resistance.
That line it would be very ironic saying that now, considering what the landscape of WWE is, because Jay will say word for word what this man said all these years ago.
To say the least, it was more of, and I think this company will be better. Excuse me, and I think that maybe this company will be better after Vince is dead. That one was like, what?
Whoa, yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be taken over by his idiotic daughter and his doofus son-in-law and the rest of his stupid family.
Wow.
If there's ever a moment that you say your jaw drops, that was it. And I was there with my daughter's mother at the time, and she was a wrestling fan as I was at the time. And we're both sitting there and we're like, how is this happening? Like, how did this occur? For me,
how are they not going off the air now? Like why is this continuing?
So after that, it was for me, my point was when he made the reference to the other promotions and when he said, I'm leaving WWE's championship. I'm leaving with WWE's championship in July 17th. And hell, who knows? Maybe I'll go defend it in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Maybe I'll go back to Ring of Honor. Hey, Cole Cabana, how you doing? And I'm sitting there going,
oh, shit.
Is this meant to happen? Like, I really sat there and I said, is this meant, like, and I'm also in my mind going, why have they not cut his mic off? Like, what's not happening here? Until finally at the end of the pipe bomb, he pats the mic, he cuts it off, and he just goes off. At that moment,
well, but you remember what he was going to talk about? He was going to tell a story about Vince McMahon and Make-A-Wish.
Yes.
No, it was bullying. No, you're wrong. It was bullying.
Oh, yeah, the bullying campaign. You're right. Yeah.
And yeah, he goes, let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon. We do this whole bully campaign, and the microphone cuts off, and then he just starts screaming into the camera, I've been silenced.
But the best part is like the fans, like they didn't like boo or cheer, they just went, "Aw." They wanted to hear the story. What's the truth about to tell? Because the fans were so in trance live where I never heard that from a crowd in my life. It didn't feel like a wrestling show at that point. It felt like a stand-up show where they just took the comics mic off and like, "Aw, it's over."
So for me, that was when I began to have faith in the WWE again. This is when I said, if they can have this happen, I believe that it could be a turnaround. It wasn't until later that I watched the documentary um, where you learn how all this occurred. Which, by the way, probably one of my top 3 favorite documentaries that WWE's ever made. What's Ricky? What's your top documentaries WWE's ever made?
The CM Punk, how they did WrestleMania, and the recent one I watched was WrestleMania 9. How they brought it all together. I was like, holy shit! I was like, what? Really?
That atrocity.
Yes, it was.
And
That
see,
was the.
rocket
I
rock.
think that's the worst. Besides WrestleMania 9 and 11 are the worst, in my opinion.
Mike, what's your top WWE DVDs?
The Hello, my name is Paul Heyman DVD.
Ooh,
That's my favorite one.
okay.
It was definitely interesting to take a look at what like a kid from New York who started off as a photographer to now this fucking loudmouth Jewish asshole on TV that everybody just wants to hit.
Yeah, mine is Punk. Then it would be Heyman, and then it's a tie between the Rise and Fall of ECW and Rise and Fall of WCW.
Mm.
Oh, I didn't think about those two. I totally forgot about those two.
Yeah,
Oh,
but I
ooh.
thought, I thought the Heyman and the Punk one was more. It was more educational on how the process was done. Although it was, you could say it was still worked, you could tell that the shoot aspects was there, and there was a lot of realness when it came off for those guys.
Yeah.
Uh, so
So we talked about the pipe bomb where we just went into it, but I want to ask then, how'd you guys feel about the follow up the following weeks where we had the 1 week Punk was suspended off TV, his house show
Mhm.
was taken away from him, and then you had the thing with Vincent Cena where Vince was like, "Listen, I don't trust you to beat him, and if you lose, you're fired." But it was like so. Then the following week they bring him back to TV, and he comes out with a fucking megaphone because
Oh yeah,
they
I
don't cut his
remember that.
microphone off again this time, and then the famous contract signing or renegotiating contract signing, whatever you want to call it, where the famous line just where everybody repeats it or replays it these days, where Punk is just screaming at Vince like, "I demand you apologize," because in this whole tirade of Punk in this promo was, you fired people who actually love the sport professional wrestling. He brought up that weekend. Vladimir Kozlov got fired. Luke Gallows got fired. Like
mhm.
all his friends got fired.
Chris Masters too. He even said his name too.
Right? He's like the guy that you hired before that got better came back and you fired him again.
Was this also the ice cream bars?
Yeah,
Yeah, he said like I want ice cream bars back, and everybody cheered. And meanwhile, I was like, I don't know if they forgot or just didn't care, but he was the heel of this whole thing. But it was like kind of a weird baby face turn at the same time. I don't know.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved it that he switched. I always thought he was a better baby face than a heel in the first place. He sucked as a heel, but to be, in my opinion, because he's a badass baby face. I never liked him as a heel. Never.
But but he's really just an anti-hero because you get that pushback. Everybody was feeling the same way. No one was happy with the product. And, you know, when you get to a point in time with the company and you're just like, it becomes a drudgery. I often said that if I was podcasting at that time I was actually doing work before it was Rageworks. It was on My Take Radio with Rich. Shout out to the boss. And I was writing articles for the website and such, and I would call into the show. And it became like if it was just work before, rather than pleasure than doing the reviews and such. And when Punk came out and started doing this back and forth with Vince and such, it was like, God, it's like if he's reading my articles, it's like if he knows what the fuck I'm thinking. So
That's
it
true.
helped me get through, what was the pain of watching Raw every fucking Monday.
And this was during
Yeah.
the 3 hour era.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, no,
No, it
wait.
was 2 hours. It was 2 hours. It was 2 hours. It
It was
wasn't three yet.
it was about to be three
3.
the following year,
Yeah.
but so Punk. So going into this match, I want to ask you guys: did you believe he would win the match, or do you think there was going to be some shenanigans? Like, did you think Punk was going to walk out Chicago with the title?
No, I didn't. I didn't. To be honest, no. I thought there was gonna be shenanigans, but I didn't think he was gonna win the match. They wasn't gonna let him take the title and to a different company and stuff like that.
So for me, like I mentioned in the last episode, I already knew that there was so much similarities with what was going on here and what they did in ROH. My thought process was, are they really going to allow him to do this? Like I wasn't sure if they were going to give him the title to walk away with. I figured, I was like, they're not going to do Summer of Punk, no way. And but in the back of my mind, being a Punk fan, I was like, yeah, he's gonna win. I was like, yeah, he's gonna win. I also have to say, due in part to that is the fact that, as much shit that that Cena gets for him being a politic guy, a guy who sits there and throws other boys under the bus from time to time to get his way. He sure enough was a good soul to do this for Punk. That's what I have to say. That was just an amazing look for him to do that.
I think if you think about it, he's the perfect opponent for this story.
Right.
The corporate kiss ass, but corporate kiss ass behind the scenes, but it was always presented as he's the face of the company and he can't do any wrong. But meanwhile, what the fuck's wrong with this guy's face? Like, this Punk, what the hell's wrong with him? He doesn't know what the hell just happened. But anyway, so Punk goes in there.
Got a Punk shirt on.
Yeah. And also another Punk shirt. Meanwhile, like, that was the shirt that was going on, the Nexus one. Like, that's the whole thing where he pretty much just shed the Nexus altogether and became cult of personality, CM Punk, or like the voice of the voiceless, CM Punk.
Right.
But then he leaves. So they do the match, and I think this is the match that Meltzer gave 5 stars, which was the first in many years at that point in WWE.
Yeah. And even at that time, I was sitting there going, what a fucking kiss ass.
Come on, Jay. Deservedly so. It was a 5-star match.
To this day, Meltz's fucking opinions are like assholes. Everyone has them, and his fucking stinks worse than everybody else's.
That's so true, Jay. That's so true.
Well, anyway, in this match, we got one of the interesting characters that would be involved with CM Punk for the next year and a half, which would be Mr. Johnny Ace, Johnny Laurinaitis, where pretty much, so Punk wins the title, and he goes away
only for 1 week. I thought they were gonna let him go for at least a couple weeks. Maybe
it was a couple of weeks. He was away for a couple of weeks. It wasn't.
He was away for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, because he went out. He did the Cubs game. He left it in for. So it was a couple of weeks. It wasn't that.
It was a couple of weeks.
You might be right, but it definitely felt like just 1 week. But I think you're right, because they did the WWE title tournament where Ray won in the finals against The Miz, and then Cena wins in the main event from Ray. Where it was like really, guys, this is ridiculous. And then Cult of Personality plays, and I think everybody had no reaction to it at first.
I was like, who the hell is that playing? Who the hell's coming out with that music? I'm like, what the fuck?
I walked CM Punk with the WWE title around his waist.
Oh, shit.
And you knew it was also funny when they had the double titles where you knew which one was the fake one, which one was the real one, because Punk's was the most bulkier one.
Mm-hmm.
The WWE, like, John Cena version was like pushed in. Like, it definitely just because that bulky thing would fucking cut your eye. Right. Or cut any part of your body. But anyway, they do this match at SummerSlam, and then CM Punk actually won that match. I think everybody forgets that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his foot was on the rope. Cena's foot was on the rope, but he won.
He beat Cena twice. Beat Cena twice that summer.
Mm-hmm.
But out comes big sexy Kevin Nash. Is this 1996 all over again?
Woof. Woof.
And he
Yeah,
jackhammers
I said the same thing, Jay
or
Wolf.
jackknives CM Punk. And then Alberto Del Dipshit comes out, cashes in, and he is the new WWE champion. And off we go with the Summer of Punk. Like, as a fan, Jake, like I can imagine like furniture was being thrown in your apartment.
Oh, please. This was just like, and once again, WWE knows how to fuck this up. Great job. People power.
I mean, that's not even the worst of it, too. I mean, you have to have a match with the person that did this, right? Kevin Nash, you gotta get your revenge, right?
They didn't do shit.
He's not medically cleared, so we're gonna do Punk versus Triple H.
Yep.
And if Triple H loses, he's no longer COO. And then Triple H beats him in a good main event, don't mind you, but still, it's like WWE. Like, do you not know what you're doing? I'm sorry, you do know what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's
You know what's better for us.
Listen. You had a good momentum going. You riding the wave, and this is a guy who went through hellfire and brimstone to actually get to where he's at. We talked about in the last episode where he wasn't your typical prototype guy that Vince was into. It's not the guy that was the Cena look, Batista look, Triple H look kind of guy, but yet was a fan favorite through and through. And what happens? McMahon can't sit there and let this guy ride it too much. Why? Because at the same time, they knew that Punk had an ego as well, and he showed it, and he stressed it as well. A lot of that gimmick shoot angle became kind of real to him.
Mm-hmm. He pretty much felt he was the voice of the voices, and those promos he would cut because. So like the summer goes away, and then that doesn't become the Summer of Punk. But he wins the title in Survivor Series in Madison Square Garden, where he had Howard Finkel do the introduction for him. But of course, everybody remembers the fucking announcers laughing at Howard because he got all choked up, and it was a typical WWE bullying they did on screen. But Punk gets the title, and then Punk goes through main events. He main events TLC. He goes to the Royal Rumble, beats Ziggler, wins the Chamber. Has an interesting feud with Chris Jericho. I don't know how much you want to go into that, either of you, with the Jericho feud, where they touched upon his personal life,
right,
with the alcohol and pretty much just everything with Jericho bringing him. Oh, like if you're not, what about your sister?
Did you guys hear a rumor that Chris Jericho wanted to tattoo CM Punk, but they didn't allow him to do it? Did you guys ever heard?
Yeah, it was an idea they both agreed upon, but I think somebody brought up the fact
it's blood.
A writer said that there might be blood.
Right.
So stupid.
I mean, I've never got a tattoo. You guys have tattoos, and have you
ever drawn blood? No, I don't.
But
I've never seen blood in a tattoo. To be honest with you,
well, Jay? Just got a new one.
Did you draw blood from it?
Of course, you're always gonna draw. Yeah, you draw blood, especially when you're coloring. Yeah.
All right.
Hey guys, tattoo.
Oh, cool.
So, you'll draw blood, especially if it's done horribly. If you don't know what you're doing.
Oh yeah, seen it done.
Watch an episode of Jackass when Steve O's getting tattooed while on a dune buggy.
Yeah. No, I remember that. But it's like little stuff like that, and then you also talk about CM Punk's attitude, where he's going into WrestleMania as the WWE champion. He's nowhere near the main event scene. That main event scene has been.
And he was like the the fourth to fifth match of that WrestleMania.
From the bottom, I believe.
He had
to go on after the fucking Team Teddy, Team Johnny match.
Oh, that was horrible.
So,
but the main event scene was filled up by Rock and Cena, which he verbally was like not happy about it on screen and maybe backstage as well, because Like he's the WWE champion. He should be. He says he should be in the main events of all the shows, and then going forward after Mania, he actually had a very interesting feud with Daniel Bryan, which I thought for a lot of the indie fans of WWE, this is like, oh, this is very nice for them, where they get to see Bryan Danielson and CM Punk go 1-on-1 for the WWE Championship. Did anybody ever in the wildest dream think that would happen?
I didn't.
I was praying for it. I was like, let's get their paths crossed already. Let's do this.
Yeah, and then they of course they introduced the nice little diva who was going crazy at the time, who now is CM Punk's wife, AJ Lee. Which, looking back in hindsight, it's definitely one of those interesting things where you could definitely see them two like showing like the fuck me eyes to each other every time they look at each other.
That's true.
Yeah. Did anybody like? What do you guys think of that on screen relationship? Or at least I'm trying to say like CM Punk is a chick magnet. Because that was always a thing for years.
No, he made a shirt called "I Dig Crazy Chicks."
Right,
he had that shirt.
Yeah, but it was always known, or at least rumored, or like that Punk was very much a ladies' man in WWE because
he had Lita. He had Lita.
Kelly, Maria.
Really, I never heard of those two. Wow, yeah. That's interesting.
But then at 2012, AJ Lee.
Yep.
You know, it's funny because I didn't know until the lawsuit with Copacabana, which was we'll touch on about it later. The fact with CM, I always thought it meant Chicago made until it came out in the lawsuit that it meant chick magnet. I was like, really? It was like, wow,
chick magnet Punk.
Yeah, I was like, okay. Then you do the research, you find out it's because of the tag team that he was in when he was in the Indies and such. But yeah, I do have a question posed to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Punk had his just deserves, starting with Ricky, do you think Punk had his just deserves to be upset with a positioning, especially when it came to WrestleManias?
Of course. Yeah, of course. He should have been the main event of WrestleMania 29 instead of 28, to be honest with you.
Mike, what you think?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Ricky. I mean, that WrestleMania, if there was going to be a legitimate case for CM Punk to say, hey, I should be the main event, it was definitely WrestleMania 29. Where that whole storyline going into it with The Rock and John Cena.
It should have been a triple threat.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It should have been a triple threat. All due respect to the match that he would come out with the Undertaker, that could have been somebody else. That could have been the Shield spot with the Undertaker, or somebody else on the roster if you wanted to push that year. But I mean, just the idea of Cena, Rock, Punk, and we'll talk about it later. But Punk later admits like if you wanted to make like elimination and fucking eliminate me in the first 5 minutes, I would have been fine with that too. But it's also it's just the idea at that point where like this person should be in the main event, and the fact that he wasn't kind of annoys me for the Punk fans and for me as a casual, not as a casual, but as a fan of wrestling, where it's like just change direction. What was so wrong about making it a triple threat for that year alone?
No, I agree, especially with the fact that he built his way up that ladder, especially with the momentum he had going so far in that past year or so. It was just deserved. I don't think he hated the Undertaker matchup. I don't think it's almost as though it's like, that's part of wrestling legacy. If you get into a match with Undertaker, especially at Mania, I don't think that it's a bad thing. But at the same time, he had his just deserves. He should have been somewhere in that main event lineup.
Right. Yeah, but I just wanted to make sure I'm not saying the Undertaker thing was more of the way I want to phrase that is where it's like it doesn't feel like it felt like a consolation prize. Like, thank you for holding the WWE title for a year, for 434 days, and now instead of you being in the main event of WrestleMania, we're gonna give you Undertaker. But it's also like it only made sense for to make a 1 month story out of it, where it's like when you look at that through a whole year, it's like if you would have said, oh, in the summer when Punk got the title, it's like, oh, he's gonna drop it in January and he's gonna feud with Punk. He's gonna feud with Taker at WrestleMania. Fans would be like, why? Like, why the Undertaker? Like, what? Like, what would Punk like? Unless like Punk started like talking about him, but didn't make any sense. Because I mean, I felt like that was the one year where they just made his whole undefeated streak a gimmick. Where they finally made a gimmick, where it was like, okay, we're gonna have Punk, Randy, Sheamus, and Big Show. Winner faces Taker at WrestleMania. It was like one of those like random things they did that one year.
That's so true.
But I will say, if Punk gets given something, he knows how to make it work. Where those promos, and I will say the untimely death of Paul Bearer played a lot into this match, played a lot into the story, because this was another one of those cases where CM Punk, at this point he has Paul Heyman as his best friend at ringside, not his advocate, not his manager, his best friend at ringside, and just that moment when Undertaker's like doing his kneel for Paul Bear, and then the fucking music interrupts, and he comes in with the shit-eating grin, because this is just funny as fuck for Punk. Because I deeply apologize, or I give my condolences for your WrestleMania streak.
Wow.
It's like that was one of those things where you just never see it, and then you just see the go home show where Paul Heyman is dressed up as Paul Bear, where
And he threw like the ashes on top of the Undertaker. That was bananas.
and people were going crazy because it was like, oh, they're alluding, oh, this is Paul Bear's ashes he just threw at the dead man. It's like all like visuals, everything, and then so I'll ask this then: did anybody think Punk was actually going to do it? Would he beat the streak?
No, I didn't think
No,
he.
I didn't think so either. Mm-mm.
Not even a little bit.
Nope.
Nah,
Mm-mm.
I pretty much was. I knew he was gonna give his all or do his best for this match, but nah, I didn't see him winning it.
I mean, I thought it was going to be close, but I mean, he loses, but it was a great match. He takes some time off for maybe a month. He takes some time off. He doesn't do Extreme Rules, but he comes back for Payback. Does a match
And
with
he
Chris
came back as
Jericho,
the baby face.
babyface, and he looked like a lot like Logan from or no, Hugh Jackman and Wolverine.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's true.
he had the burns and stuff.
Yeah, it was also like one of those questionable looks where it was like does he look all right? Like, I don't know if he's like fully rested, because he admitted at that point where he was a WWE champion, he was on the road constantly, day after day. So he took like a month break, comes back, immediately does a feud with Paul Heyman, and then he aligns with Daniel Bryan to feud with the Wyatts, where we got a little taste of that for Punk versus Bray.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get into this later when he says it. But did you guys notice anything physically wrong with him?
He looked at like he looked at real tired. His eyes looked like so puffy and stuff like that. It looked at weird.
Yeah, he did have like that. There was like darkening or reddening of the underneath the eyes. He didn't.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the
He
same,
still does to this day. If you really look at him.
but it looked worse then. Like at that
Yeah.
time, and he didn't look. He didn't have that same look. I think this is around that time where it started to settle in with him that yeah, I might not be with this company too much longer. I think he started recognizing that the signs were popping up that it was time for him to go.
I, I wouldn't say that, but I think maybe his time in the main event scene, he might have said like might start going away at this point, because at this point he was still a top guy, but he was positioned for title matches at this point. Like after him holding the title for a year, I mean, once he came back, nowhere near the title scene.
Nope.
Nowhere
Feuding
near.
right back the Shield, the Wyatts, and then going into January, he's feuding with fucking Kane, who's in a suit.
And you look at the comparisons because his favorite wrestler possibly of all time is Bret Hart. When you look at the comparisons with him and Hart when they had to deal with gigantic fucking guys who had such this momentum and they pretty much had like the same kind of look, build, and one word fucking or one phrase kind of gimmick, and you tell the guy, listen, whatever you do, don't hurt me. And that's
Yeah, he did. He said that to Ryback. I remember that.
whatever you do, don't hurt me. And it's so reminiscent of what Brett said to Goldberg. Whatever you do, don't hurt me. And that's exactly what happened. So I think this was at that time that because there was also rumblings, in Wrestling Inc. and such, that he was showing his displeasure, and it was so much so that it was going up the ladder that he was just upset with what was going on, especially with that storyline and that angle. So he was just telling. I remember in the news stories that they were saying that if they didn't get him out, if that storyline quick enough, he was going to leave. He wasn't gonna stick around.
He definitely seemed very testy too. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember the one Raw where I think a fan told him like to shut up or like, he sucked. He went off on the fan.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "In this ring, fat boy, and I'll teach you. I'll kick your ass."
Hmm.
And so you could definitely see Punk was like very testy at this point in like 2013. And then when 2014 rolled around, he's in the Rumble. He starts it off, and I'll say this is definitely where it started to show for Punk physically, where it's like something's going on. Like
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't look right. I mean, and he reveals later what we're going to talk about, but he did suffer a concussion in this match. He gets kicked in the head by an accidental dropkick by Kofi. And then he gets eliminated by Kane through outside the ring. And then Monday Night Raw comes around and he's nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, after all the stuff that happened with the Shield and such, it was
Which he put all three of them over in the
yeah,
weeks leading up to the Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
that was his exit, and it was that January, and he explained it later on down the line where he says, "I was sick, hurt, and burnt out, and I walked, and I can do that because I'm an independent contractor." And sure enough, he did.
Yep.
Now, one phrase, Jay, we'll get into that later because that sounds oddly familiar.
Mhm.
It's very weird that you said it like that, but so pretty much, I forget the date, but it's January 2014. It's Cleveland, Ohio, I believe it is.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
He's there for Monday Night Raw. He has to take a concussion test. He, I think he said no. He says no, right? This is what he says.
Mm-hmm.
Where pretty much he knows it's bullshit. He knows he has a concussion, but he takes the test and they say he's cleared.
Oh shit.
I think that's what this is where it stems from because they say he's cleared. Meanwhile, he knows damn well he has a concussion and he doesn't feel good. So then he has a meeting with Vince and Triple H, and I don't know if you want to interlude and talk about where this goes from here because this is all stemming from pretty much at this point where Punk just says, I leave, I'm done, I'm not doing this shit anymore, I'm not happy. So then he goes away for a couple months, which turns into more, but by the time we get to Survivor Series 2014, CM Punk sits down with his best friend, Colt Cabana, and tells the whole story.
Yeah. So you know, by this time, I'm already like, yeah, he's done. And you think about it at this point right now. There's really no other promotions out there. Um, he's not gonna go to TNA. He's not gonna go to Global Impact, whatever the fuck that shit was called at that time.
Global Force Wrestling.
Wrestling Global Force Wrestling. Wow.
Not gonna sit there and make a return to ROH. Everybody alluded to it. So we were all sitting on our hands, just waiting to find out, okay, what's gonna happen. And finally, it comes out that he's gonna go on Colts podcast, which was huge at that time. And um he opened up the door and discussed everything from working with a staph infection for 3 months. And
Mm-hmm.
That's why he probably looked at like pale and his eyes look puffy and stuff like that. Because
yeah,
that does do damage to your body.
yeah, the doctor said that he could have died, like that he working that way. And they kept giving him what is known as a Z pack to fucking, but don't worry about it, the infection will go away.
And this is when I hate this is around this time where fans were thinking they're detectives or let's be investigators because they would look back at his matches and be like, okay, where the fuck is this bump? Meanwhile, Punk said it's like it's under my lining of my trunks,
Right,
so pretty much you can't see it. Like he
right.
made sure to cover it up. It's not like this man was not gonna go on TV and have this big fucking bruise on him, and people are not gonna notice it.
And he said every time he took a bump on it, it fucking hurt. Like he said it was like a gunshot on his back or a knife wound every time. So
Right.
he just knew that something wasn't happening. So he goes on to Colt podcast, and it was actually a two-parter, and he explained about the staph infection he was working through and such, broken ribs and such, and he just knew that everything wasn't going well. But he said, the kicker for him that really was just what hurt more than anything was that they sent his termination letter on his wedding day.
Oh, I would have been
Right.
traumatized.
I don't know if that's intentional. I don't know whether or not it just was by happenstance. It was a coincidence. But yeah, that was crazy. Uh,
Mhm.
and from then on out, we know the stories. There was a fallout after that interview. He ended up having to have a lawsuit against his former best friend now and such. It just became real reckless, and we just started seeing what was probably the biggest downward spiral in Punk's career so far.
Yeah. That's the part that sucked about the whole situation was that he went on his friend's podcast to air out his grievances, and then to get into the lawsuit with WWE, and somehow WWE won in the case of they're now no longer best friends because of all the money situation. That's what WWE didn't win the war with Punk on that one, but they definitely got a consolation prize. Hey, these two assholes are no longer best friends anymore. It's all about fucking money.
And think about it. Vince went on Stone Cold's podcast and he apologized
Mm.
for the Punk thing, and Punk was like, "Screw you! I don't believe your shit. Fuck you."
Because there's also too like Vince is saying that now. He's saying that in front of the public. Meanwhile, he could have said it in private.
Right.
Like Punk said, like you assholes have my number. Like if you want to talk, let's talk. Because that's the thing with Punk for me is that he's definitely not that type of person that just wants, or he's not that type of person that'll go in front of a camera and just say, or have somebody say like they're sorry to him, and because he knows you don't mean it. You're just saying it in front of a camera.
Mm-hmm.
So he's gone, right? And we get the where is Punk? You know, we put him on a milk carton, try to find out he's on unwanted missing persons
Yeah.
posters and such. We see that he made a a brief appearance in UFC MMA, which by the way, a lot of people could give shit to him about his he had a shitty record, whatever. But I always tell people, can you do it?
I wouldn't do it. Hell no, I ain't getting my ass beat.
At his age too.
And there's only a handful of guys in professional wrestling who transitioned that way. You have Brock, you had
Bobby
Batista,
Lashley.
Bobby Lashley, you have Alberto Del Rio.
Jack Swagger.
Jack Swag. You know who I thought about the other day who's actually still killing it and he's doing bare knuckle now? What's his name? Jack Gallagher.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's a monster. He's a beast over there. So,
He's not very gentleman like anymore. It's like a
no,
new fucking dude.
but there's not a lot of guys who would do that. So he had his brief stint there, and then we started seeing that Punk was popping up in the indies a little bit. He popped up at a wrestling event to help his mentor Ace Steel in the match. And then there's a little company that came out of nowhere called AEW. And
Which, funny enough, the logo's above your head.
That's so true. So true.
Oh, that one.
so then there became the rumblings. Is Punk coming back to wrestling? And if he does he come back with All Elite Wrestling? Ricky, did you see it happening? Did you believe it would happen?
I think so. I think so. I really think so. But I didn't think it was going to take 2 years for him to come back. Once the company AEW came in, it
Well,
took 2 years.
remember, he had that brief stint with WWE's Fox Sports with the member backstage.
Right.
But he wasn't signed to WWE. He was signed to Fox.
Right.
Right. Because he was also doing commentary
Gotta
for
change.
the UFC as well. So
I gotta change. I gotta go. Give me a second, guys. Hold on.
Yeah. So so he had that brief moment where he had gone to Fox. He did that, and then all of a sudden, like there was like that, is Punk coming back to WWE? And people were like, I don't know, I don't know. But then there was that rumor that was building up. Can he go to
Well,
AEW? Was what was the more logical or even more feasible thing for you? Was it WWE or the AEW thing?
I mean, when it came to him doing the backstage stuff, and he was talking about the WWE product, it definitely seemed like he had more. He had. It seemed like his interests were back,
Right.
especially when he was talking about the product, because he would put guys over that were not on television at that time. I mean, like because they were pushing the Seth Rollins agenda, the Kevin Owens stuff, the Fiend, the Roman Reigns push, all that stuff. But Punk would be on the backstage. Goes, this guy Keith Lee is really talented. I hope I hope he wins the Royal Rumble. Like he would say like random shit like this, and then he would start like feuds on Twitter with Rollins and the Miz, and famously he told the Miz to go to go suck a blood covered dick because they were doing the Saudi. This is around the Saudi Arabia deals were happening. So Punk was definitely happy, I would say, doing backstage for Fox. But I definitely thought his interactions with like Rollins was like, oh, we got to tease a WrestleMania match between these two. Well, like Punk's gonna definitely get back in the fold with the WWE.
I'll tell you.
But
I'll tell you one thing though. Remember when they showed him when they debuted or they teased it that he was there. It was like at the end of one of the episodes, and he
yeah,
popped up. I tell you, I did this.
of course you did.
Yeah, I was the same way. I was the same way. I was saying, oh shit, Hell's
So
Broke
Also,
over.
wasn't it just like random too? Like there was no build up to it. It was just like, oh, like when it was like, oh, we have one more thing to announce.
it was like
The
breaking news.
music hit.
And Paige was shocked. She was
Yeah,
like, oh.
Even Paige was like, is this real? Like, what's happening?
Mhm.
And you had Samoa Joe and Adam Cole standing there being awkward. Like, okay, Phil's back. Like, okay. Like, but it was definitely at that moment I was like, oh, maybe this could happen, but it didn't last long, right? I mean, because the pandemic hit, and so they couldn't do the backstage show anymore, or it got canceled. So then he was out of the mix with WWE, and then the AEW rumor started, and it was funny because they're like, oh, because they made sure to make it clear, like, oh, it's both Punk and Bryan Danielson are on their way to AEW. So I was
right.
like if you would have just said Punk, I would have said no, but they made sure to say Danielson's name, so I was like, motherfucker, if this actually happens, like they just brought in two of the biggest stars in the world of wrestling in the company, and the AEW announced a big Grand Slam show in Chicago, so I was like, oh,
Oh,
there you
he's
go.
showing up.
There you go. On Friday night's debut episode of Rampage, where remember when Rampage was a big show, everybody?
Mm-hmm.
But then the show opens and Cult of Personality hits and the crowd reaction. It was like fucking like if Jesus was reborn.
I was laughing when that guy was crying. I was laughing.
Yep.
I was like, what
And
the
meanwhile,
hell?
Jay's crying at home.
Listen, at that point in time, I would have taken. He could have popped up at GCW and not a fucking pop. Like it was at anything. Like
Mm.
I was just like, this is fucking happening. And all I really wanted was just to hear that opening promo. Didn't care about nothing else that came afterwards. Didn't give a fuck about none of that. All I wanted to hear was that opening promo. And he did disappoint.
Mm-hmm.
He threw his subtle shots here and there, but
Mm-hmm.
more along the line of getting the company over, getting the next match, which the next pay per view that's coming was All Out coming out, and from then I was like, let's get it rip and running. But if I could look up and find it in previous episodes of Tabloid, I can honestly say that I pretty much had my finger on the pulse saying this is not going to last long. I already had a feeling that
Really?
I did.
Really? Mm.
Reason why is because there was already a dysfunction that was going on within AEW that
Mm.
There wasn't a structure. Tony Khan was this kind of person. There was a thought that maybe Punk would, wrangle Tony, and there was already a consensus with the roster with a lot of the guys that they were like, I don't know, because they've had history with him and they had stories about him. So I remember in the past where I said, I don't think this marriage, this relationship is gonna last long. And sure enough, it started happening, ladies and gentlemen.
Well,
Things
that's
started.
what that was the problem early on for them. I'm trying to interrupt you. I'm just saying, like too many cooks were in the kitchen regarding creative.
Right.
Because you had
Hmm.
Cody doing what he wants to do, the Bucks do what they want to do, Kenny does what he wants to do, Chris Jericho does what he wants to do, and then it's like Tony Khan then looks at the rest of the roster and says, "Okay, what do I do with all you?"
And
And
remember,
at that point, he kept bringing people in.
his former best friend was still in the building.
Yeah,
You
that was
know,
Yeah.
also another thing too, where I think a lot of people, which was funny enough, where they thought that was the main reason he wouldn't go, but he still came in. But then once he does come in, you start to see little changes on TV. I don't know if you guys remember, but it was like Colt's gone. Some of the silliness that we used to see is now associated with him. It'd be like,
Hmm.
oh, it's not facility time in the first hour with the Bucks and the Elite, but then it's like serious wrestling time with CM Punk, Darby Allin, and MJF. Like it definitely felt like there was the company then divided itself internally. Where
Hmm.
it's like you had Kenny, Jericho, and the Bucks and all that crew, and then you had Punk and his crew.
yeah, I thought the rivalry with MJF was the
Oh,
one.
that was classic.
I
That
thought
was
that
a classic.
one that would have kept him in the company because I felt that though that was a storyline and match build up and matches itself, especially the dog collar match, that solidified what he thought of wrestling and was like, good. I could come back to a place and be, a wrestler again. I could be able to have, put my finger and help and put my finger in people's creativity and such, help them out, be able to help guys get through this. But then yeah, yeah.
I mean, let's also give credit to Punk where it's due, where he worked with Darby that first pay per view he came in. He then
Oh,
did
that was a
Eddie.
good match. That was a pretty good match. I think that was his best match in AEW. To
Yeah,
be honest with you.
yeah. I mean, the dog collar match at that point
Oh,
was
that one too. I didn't
that
think about
his little feud with Eddie Kingston for Full Gear was a fun little feud.
it. And
Right.
Eddie
But
still doesn't like him.
of course, but that's Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston. I mean, it's just Eddie.
Who does Eddie really like? Like, let's be
I
honest.
mean,
Nobody.
it's far in between. But
Yeah.
I wanted to just point out the fact that it was Punk was not doing a light schedule because this dude would work like weeks, like weekly.
Excuse
He
me.
was on Dynamite working with everybody. He had a match with fucking Pentagon Junior on one show.
Let me give you a quick snippet of what Punk had said about his relationship with Cole Cabana. My relationship with Scott Colton ended long before I paid all his bills. I have every receipt.
Oh,
I
I
have
know where
every
we're going
info.
now.
I have every email. I have the email where he says, and I quote, I agreed to go our separate ways. I will get my own lawyer and you do not have to pay anymore. That's an email that I have. And the only person and only reason the public did not see it is because when I finally had to counter sue him through discovery, we discovered he shared a bank account with his mother. Come on,
Wow.
bitter dude, bro. Bitter, bitter, bitter. He takes it. He takes it from his best. He takes the best from his idol, Bret Hart himself.
I also love Colt's response to. He goes, "Not for nothing. My brother also has the same account with my mother."
Oh shit.
And he said his brother works for fucking Family Guy. But
So
like you go, I know we're definitely gonna go into that, but or we're now gonna talk about with his problems with the elite started to fester in the next year, where he's feuding with Hangman Page, and Hangman cuts like a shoot style promo on him that Punk
And
is
that's
not
where
aware.
things changed for him. That's where things started to change with CM Punk. Like, why would he cut that type of promo? And he said to himself, "Oh, okay, like, we gotta have an issue."
And as a fan, there was nothing wrong with the promo. In
No, I
our,
didn't think it was
in
wrong.
our heads, we were like, oh, they came in and saying, oh, you're an outsider. You're coming in to fucking reap our benefits, blah, blah, blah. But Phil definitely heard that and said, why would you say that? But now it's like, he have the match, he wins the title, he goes away because stupid Phil jumps in the crowd and
He
fucking
broke
breaks
his
his
foot.
ankle. Then he comes back, has a rematch, gets his belt back with John, and then Jay, we talked about this, I felt like for months on Terminal Tabloid with the fucking media scrum. The world famous media scrum at All Out.
Well, you thought the pipe bomb was crazy.
Yeah, seriously.
This one here, I'm not gonna say that this one was better than the pipe bomb, but I have to say that it
More
was up.
vulgar.
It was up,
Yes, it was.
and it was one of those moments in AEW history where Tony might wish he could take it back, but she can't because it probably had the most views of anything they did all year. And
It was the most viewed thing in wrestling.
yeah,
Yeah,
and then
that's true.
when you get into the nitty gritty of what happened afterwards, it just and for me, there had to be a point in time where Tony should have interjected and cut some things off. But he allowed this to run. He allowed this to go. And once again, he's just on this platform of bitterness and you let him rip. And what did you expect?
Mm-hmm.
So what is
This was Tony Khan the whole time.
yeah, I gotta cut your mic off a little bit over there, Rick. Hold on a second. So we get to the now it's 2022. I haven't been friends with this guy since the last 2014, late 2013. And the fact that I have to sit up here because we have irresponsible people who call themselves EVPs and couldn't fucking manage a target, and they spread lies and bullshit and put it in the media that I got somebody fired when I have
Fuck all.
fuck all to do with Colt. Want nothing to do with him. Do not care where he works, where he doesn't work, where he eats, where he sleeps. And the fact that I have to get up here and do this in 2022, it's fucking embarrassing. I digress. But what did I ever do in the world deserving an empty-headed fucking dumb fuck like Hangman Adam Page to go out on national television and fucking go into business for himself? For what? What did I do, Dave? What did I ever do? Didn't do a goddamn thing. Wow.
And Jay, do you remember that night too? Because you, after the pay per view went off the air, you were going to bed, and I was like, Jay, put the media scrum on now and watch this. And you're like, is something happening? I'm like, shit is hitting the fan.
Let me tell you, you know how many times I watched that shit happen? I think I watched that shit like 10 times, bro. Like,
Jay,
Me 20.
we covered that media scrum, just that whole first bit. Like, we analyzed it, and we're like, what is happening? We just saw a grown man. By the way, I don't know what was wrong with their audio at that time, but he sounded like an old man.
yeah, some old, decrepit, just pissed off, get off my lawn kind of guy.
You'll get into the famous line goes, I'm old and I work with children.
Uh, so,
And then we have to talk about Brawl Out.
so we get the brawl out that occurred afterwards, right? And let's go through this and we get the brawl out that happened. Everybody knows what occurred. They broke in, breaking down the door. Larry got involved.
Kenny Omega saved the dog. That was the best part of the story.
Yeah. Later on down the line, you hear that Punk and Omega are actually, they're on better terms these days.
Because looking back on it, it was the issue of Punk and the Bucks.
Right.
Because Punk felt the Bucks were talking to Dave about how, then Punk's not going Colt on TV or he's not going him backstage. And then there's also other reports too well, this is later on too, where Punk would have like Christopher Daniels, who's like the head of talent relations. He went and met backstage at Collision. Like, I don't want you fucking back here. Go away. You're friends with them. I don't want you here. Or he'll tell other people, like Matt Hardy, he'd say, like, no, I don't want you on my show.
Was it Ryan Nemeth? Yeah, Ryan Nemeth. Yeah, it's like
Number two, he told him to go fuck off.
so they get they suspended him, but they put it under the guys that he had to go through repair his tricep anyway,
Which is
and
true.
yeah, which was true. So that I was able to cover it.
And he cited NDA.
Of course, but because we found out all this information from Brian and Dave, but pretty much about the fight. Where also we found out where fucking Ace Steel bit one of the Bucks.
Oh, shit.
So then Ace Steel lost his job with AEW, but somehow was still a producer for Collision.
Right.
It was
So that all goes into shit afterwards. So this is like, the temperature is getting hotter and hotter with Punk and the rest of the roster, but he still had some friends in the building. FTR was still siding with him and such. Joe,
they didn't help situations either.
right? Joe was trying to play peacemaker. Ricky Starks was a Punk guy and such. So like they were trying to make things feasible to work. Tony was basically saying, I'm not going to let him go. I can't let him go. We got to find a way to deal with this. So what did they do? They found a way to put Punk on Collision, right?
Yeah, they had, the network said make another show and pretty much put all your disgruntled, unused talent on this Saturday show. Which, mind you, so there was like Wednesday night Dynamite, Friday night Rampage, Saturday night Collision, which was pretty much a CM Punk exclusive show with all his people that he wanted on his show.
And have the belt too that he never lost.
But also,
and draw the X on it.
Yeah, the X on it.
And meanwhile, there'd be names on there where you haven't seen on Dynamite for months or maybe a year at that point. Fucking Miro, Andrade, Thunder Rosa started making their way back as soon as Punk was making his way back too.
Right.
It was the most weird fucking time.
Yes, it was.
It was like me and Jay was like, "Is this a brand split?"
That's what we were saying. It's like,
That's what I thought too. That's what I thought. I like they splitting up the brands. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Trying to make WWE to AEW? I'm like, what? That's crazy.
We get that going, and the rumors is going around that Punk is now, if not booking, he's agenting. He's doing agent work for Collision and such. That didn't fucking last long.
Yeah.
For long. We get the All in London incident. Mike, we were at the Ring Fanatics watch along, right?
Yeah, I forgot the place of it. It was a very nice place, but yeah, we're there watching All In.
And we did. I maybe I got there late. I don't know if you were there early enough, but I didn't know what happened. I didn't remember. I didn't get to see that match that involved.
Yeah, there was the buy-in where it was pretty much Jack Perry versus Hook in it was like a no DQ match. He comes out in a limo, and there was a spot where he like a suplex to Hook on the front of the car to the glass, and we didn't hear it at first because the audio was bad in the place. But looking, saw it on Twitter where Jack just knocks on the glass and goes, "Real glass, cry me a river." So what the fuck was that? Like what now? Like what's going? Very confused. But then the match happens, Hook wins, and then it was like 20 minutes later where there's another match going on, and we hear Punk fights Jack Perry backstage at All In.
Shit.
We're like, what?
What was that gorilla? And he's like, "Bring your ass, let's go."
And then
he choked him out. I saw that video.
But the thing is, we're watching it live. Like we're seeing the news, and all of a sudden we just see Punk walk out for his match with Samoa Joe. So what is happening right now on this show? So Punk has his match, which would then be his final match in AEW history against Samoa Joe. He has the belt on his shoulder, walks away with his hand like this. pretty much saying goodbye. Like I'm saying, he's like, "Fuck all of you, I'm done." But then later on, we find out that after the match, Punk confronts Jack Perry and says, "What are you doing? Like, why do you continue to do this internet bullshit?" So then Jack pushes him, and then they start having a little fight. And Punk starts like choking him for real.
Yeah, so he choked him out.
Yeah,
So
and then Chris Hero and Samoa Joe had to intervene, and then Joe took Punk away, and then Punk goes to Tony Khan, like knocks a monitor over, and says, "I quit. I had enough of this childish bullshit. I'm done."
he told him, "You're a fucking clown. I quit." So later on we realized that first of all, poor Chris Hero, he was just there chilling. Like he was like, "I'm trying to get a gig, guys. Like I'm just here hanging out. Like how did I get involved in
Right?
this?"
He was like on trial base with them, like trying to be a producer.
And as for Punk later on, I believe he said it. I think it was on Ariel Hawani show where he said I was approached by an agent from the back, and he to talk to Jack Perry about what they wanted to do. And they came to me to talk to them like a mentor, and he was like, "All right, I really don't want to get involved in this shit," but he was like, "Okay,
This,
let me talk."
just so everybody knows, this was for a collision tape because Jack wanted to take some time off and he wanted
Right,
to do a glass spot.
right,
So Tony Schiavone had to go to Punk
right,
to find an okay on it or something.
right.
And Punk was like, "No, don't do it. It's not worth going through real glass just to go take some time off. Just exit the spot." And then
Yeah,
Jack Perry got all pissed off and then this whole thing. That's where this whole real glass comment came from.
yeah. So even after that, Punk he went to say that after all that happened, that the AEW didn't reach out for him for 6 months after the altercation, after months, and all of a sudden he had to pay for his own fucking recovery, his own surgery, and I think this is when the phone rang and it was like, "Hello, WWE." What? What's
Well,
going
also,
on?
wasn't there also like an investigation
Right.
in that week where then also on Collision, you had Tony Khan being like, "I unfortunately have to announce that I have fired CM Punk,"
Did it happen in Chicago? It
and
was like the crowd booed.
that was also a show where the Young Bucks came out at the end of the show and did a victory lap in the ring, and everybody was like, "Boo!"
As a matter of fact, it was the same time that it was a WWE pay per view as well. That
Well,
was
also
happening.
no, they had another show, AEW, that all in that one weekend and all out the next.
Yeah.
And it
So,
was supposed to be Punk versus Ricky in a strap match.
so um, then it became rumblings. Uh, Punk is done with wrestling, right? And he's out of AEW. Then all of a sudden, there's this blurb that's going around in the social medias. Punk popping up at Survivor Series. Ricky, what was your thoughts about this?
I was shocked. I thought he was never coming back to WWE. Never. In my wildest dreams, I never thought he would come back. Never. I was like, whew. I was like, hell froze over. And he wrote it on the t-shirt. Hell froze over.
Yep. I mean, the picture afterwards with him and Triple H pretty much said it
Oh.
all. But me and Jay, I remember me and Jay talking about this. I think at that time, I definitely said if he goes back, it's for redemption. Because the past 2 years have been just negativity about this man,
Mhm.
and and you said it. If you know Phil, like he doesn't want to leave this. This is not the mark he wants to leave on wrestling. He wants to go out with a bang, or at least with a positive image of himself. Him going back to WWE was kind of the final thing. Like if he wanted to continue wrestling and be in the wrestling business, WWE was the last chance.
Yep.
So then
Yeah.
he comes back, but it was one of those WWE style returns where they do the War Games pay per view. It's about to go off the air, and then you hear the static, and then CM Punk's music plays. The Cult of Personality again plays in Chicago, and of course it's always in fucking Chicago. But the building exploded.
No,
Yep.
no. What the Survivor Series return?
Yeah.
No, wasn't it Toronto?
No, Chicago.
It was in Chicago.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah,
yeah.
it was.
Toronto
Oh,
was the year after.
Okay.
Yeah, this was the Chicago because they made because everybody was. This is when the rumors started because it's in Chicago. It's like, oh, Punk's gonna come back.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, comes out with short hair, looks fresh and clean, and a freshly topped babyface Seth Rollins is screaming, "Fuck you, motherfucker! Get the
Yes,
hell out
I
of
saw that
here!"
that video. I was like, oh shit,
Well,
what the hell?
remember, we had to return to Randy that night as well.
Right. Because everybody thought they were going to do a Bane switch and thought if Randy's not coming back, Punk's going to be in the spot. But no, they did the Randy thing and then Punk returned.
Right.
But it was funny because they showed like some people recorded the wrestlers' reactions at ringside. Like Rhea Ripley's at ringside. She was like, okay. Some people had like interesting reactions, but Rollins had the most visceral, angriest reaction. But I think now we can realize like him and Punk are like on good terms where like, they're definitely friendly. But that time it was definitely just vitriol, angry. Yeah, that what a sight.
This was such joy.
He looked like a new man.
Oh
Yep.
my god, this was such joy. All right. So I just had to
And,
do
and
this.
this is in the landscape of WWE where Vince is not in charge anymore. Triple H is fully taking over the book. And it was like a lot of us are questioning how is CM Punk going to work with a Triple H that's now in fully control. So far, so good. But then the fucker gets hurt, which was, I think, a problem where all of us kept saying, like, he's old, he's not young anymore, where now he's going to be injury prone. And unfortunately, he misses the first WrestleMania. But now, where we are now today, where pretty much he's in the mix, he's now.
He missed a match in WrestleMania, but he kind of did something pretty cool at Mania. So
Oh, yeah. He had Damian Priest become the World Heavyweight Champion. But I will say, with the feud that Punk had with Drew McIntyre for that year, pretty
best ever.
That
much,
was
yeah.
awesome. That was a great rivalry. Him and
Because
Drew.
that feud helped Drew McIntyre go from boring or subdued like Scottish warrior to now just a fucking troll that just will take the piss out of anything.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it also felt good to know that there was some kind of shoot fade thing going on because even Seth Rollins still have heat. He had heat with Punk. Their promos back and forth was really fucking solid as well. After the after enduring the McIntyre run, so I just felt as though like I, they became that period between 2014 to 2023, 24 that we realize he's matured. He's grown up.
Right.
He's gotten to a place now where I can work with this company again. And I'm at my later years. And the fact of the matter is, just like a lot of our favorites, their time is coming. That door is about to close soon.
Hmm.
And, you know, all he wants is his mania moment, and he's just on that precipice. Don't get hurt, Phil. Don't get hurt.
And he got hurt.
Yeah, but I think now where he's in the position where we're currently at, where he has the world title, he's actually gonna have a few months to hold the belt, and depending on who he drops it to, if it's a Breaker or it's a Roman Reigns or Logan Paul, whoever the hell he's gonna
Oh
drop it
hell
to.
no, 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 no.
Just
Hell no, I don't want him to lose it to Logan Paul. I
just
can't
say,
stand that son of a bitch.
listen, this is probably gonna be Punk's final run with a world title. Let's just be real
Yes.
about that. But I think the past 2 years now, where now we're coming up on, yeah, that's 2 years because he came back
Hmm.
at War Games, where now it's, I think for him, he definitely washed away all the bad blood from
Hmm.
the AEW fans. I think that's safe to say.
Yep.
Because
I
all
mean,
those AEW diehards definitely wanted to kill this guy after all the stuff he did. Because once he left, they thought, oh, AEW is gonna die, all because of fucking CM Punk.
I tell you this. because I know we're gonna start wrapping up soon.
Right.
Okay.
Regardless of how much you despise this man, or regardless of how much you love this man, the man left a fucking impact in WWE for almost 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
They chanted his name almost every fucking show. Like it became, common practice to do, you know?
Regardless if the product was good or bad, they always said this fucker guy's name.
You regardless whenever they said a mystery opponent or somebody, you automatically went CM Punk. Everybody was dying and wishing for him to come back.
Mm-hmm.
When a McMahon would pop up on TV, let's chant CM Punk, and then Stephanie would have a rebuttal, be like, "Oh, if you chant that a little longer, you'll last longer than Punk did in the Octagon."
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, there's something about this individual that left an impression on the wrestling fans. Is he an asshole? Was he an asshole? Sure, of course. I mean, he doesn't even deny it.
No.
He's passionate about his love of wrestling. Of course, he wears it everywhere he goes. At the same time, whenever you could get him on the match and you feel as though that he can go and he's gonna have a good partner, a dance partner to be with, he'll get you the match that you need to see. Because there's gonna be storytelling, there's gonna be emotion and feel, and there's gonna be somewhere along the line you're gonna see a callback to something old, something new, and something present. So you guys, I don't care what you think. Punk has and will be always in my top 5. It'll always revolve around, my favorites. One day he'll be 1 day he's 4, 1 day he's 6, 5, 3, whatever. But he's always in my top 5.
Ricky, before we wrap up, there's a little I do have some questions, a
Go
little
ahead.
trivia for you guys. But Ricky, your thoughts on CM Punk overall, his run from beginning to now?
I think he's had a great run. So and now he's got the title back again. They should give him a 6 to 7 month run with the title. Lose it at WrestleMania in the main event at night 1. That's what I feel.
Does anybody have a prediction of what his match might be for Mania with Rollins out?
I think it's either. I think it's Braun. I think Braun wins the title.
I think
What do you feel?
I think Braun wins at Rumble. I don't know if it'll be the Royal Rumble match or just a main event.
Oh, okay.
Braun wins. I hope he tells the same thing that he told Ryback. Don't hurt me.
That kid, his spear is so scary. I wouldn't want to get speared. Oh, hell no.
But so far, I haven't heard much from people saying that that he's reckless in the ring. So far, they said he was brought up well. And I think that Punk gets his WrestleMania moment this year. He'll win that. He'll get that main event win.
Yes, I hope so. He deserves it.
No. Definitely in agreement with both of you. So, I want to do some little trivia with you for the man of CM Punk. First question. We're doing this because Ricky's definitely the trivia master. But so to put you on the spot here, but which WWE title has CM Punk not won?
Universal?
No.
Really?
It's still a belt that still exists.
Oh, that's a good one. You got me stumped.
It's about WWE one?
WWE belt that he has not won in his career.
Probably one that I'm gonna.
I said Universal, the one Cody got, but he said
USA title.
What'd you say?
The United States title.
That is correct.
Oh shit!
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
CM Punk has only been one-time World Tag Team Champion. Who was his partner?
Kofi.
That is correct. When he won the Intercontinental title, who did he defeat?
William Regal.
Correct. Which match type has CM Punk not won?
Has
Royal
not
Rumble?
Not. Yep, that's correct. The Royal Rumble.
Royal Rumble.
What the
Okay.
fuck is going on over there? Jesus. Next question. Which two Money in the Bank ladder matches did CM Punk win at?
What, the year?
Well, the events he won.
Or what?
2008, 2009. 24 and 25.
That is correct. And in his debut match for ECW, who did he defeat?
Just incredible.
That is correct. And also, it's funny too. I heard a recent thing where Justin Credible said he made CM Punk a star.
Oh, get the fuck out of here. Stupid. That's so stupid.
But I want to say thank you, Ricky, for joining us for this
Thank
special
you. I
part
appreciate
2
it.
on the CM Punk episode. Jay, Superintendent Jay, I will say, to
Yeah.
continue from the last episode.
That is bestowed to me, the name Superintendent Santee. Listen, guys, make sure you check us out on all the social media outlets for New York Wrestle Media. Also, make sure you check us out on all the podcasting outlets where all our episodes are being uploaded. And you guys can not only view it on YouTube, but you could also listen to it on all the podcasting outlets. History and Headlocks was just released their first episode fully there. So, guys, make sure you check them out there. If you're unable to watch it on YouTube, make sure you get the audio there. They support us on that as well. But always make sure you like and subscribe and be a part of the vibe of all things on the YouTube networks. Let's get that going. Let's get that up and running. We got to get all you guys more involved in what's going on, not only with History and the Headlocks, with Under the Ring Apron, with Are We Talking Sports, and Turnbuckle Tablet, of course, the flagship as well. And yeah, speaking of this week, on this week's episode, I'll be discussing what's going on with the John Cena thing, as well as is it working, and are we caring about it? So you're gonna hear my opinion about that. And we also celebrate the life, as I do every year around this time. We celebrate the life of the man himself, El Capo, for life. Our boy Matt Travis, who unfortunately passed away years ago, and we celebrate his life every year around this time. So make sure you check us out, and we'll listen to that man's voice and hear about his passion and his love for wrestling. So make sure you check us out for episode of Turnbuckle Tabloid this week for that as well.
If you want to show love for History and Headlocks, keep liking and subscribing. We'll keep liking the videos and subscribe to the channel. We are, like we said at the beginning of the episode, we are on all podcasting outlets. So if you want to listen on the road, or definitely go to your podcast app. TeePublic also for merchandise, as well as us, and for anything. NY Wrestling Media, Instagram, NYWM _ History Headlocks. If you want to show love for us on Instagram as well. Ricky, thank you again for joining us. Jay, for always stepping in. And until then, class is dismissed.
Sit, turn type, sit. Good boy. Ruff.